Where is my money? Tell me where. You wanna chit chat, but I don't care. Can't be playing with my cash, no way. This disrespect can't be the play. Why you playing games with my cash? Owe me big, but you're acting rash. Said you pay me back today. Hey, now you're silent like it's all okay. Cash rules everything around me. Everything. Pay me what you owe, don't flee. Pay me. Dusty promises, don't sue. No dusty promises. Gotta get straight to the loot. See you styling in your new threads. Spending freely while my wallet's dead. You think I won't come for my green, but I'm not backing down from this scene. Where's my money? You promised me. Where's my money? Quit the chatter and just agree. Where's my money? Your lies ain't funny, it's getting old. Pay me now before I get bold. Where's my money? Dusty excuses won't get you far. Up in the club buying out the bar. Time to face up, you owe a debt. Avoiding me won't let you forget. Ducking calls like a ghost in the night. Running scared, but I'm ready to fight. No more stalling, it's time to pay. Running out on me is not okay. Where's my money? You promised me. Where's my money? Quit the chatter and just agree. Where's my money? Your lies ain't funny, it's getting old. Pay me now before I get bold. Where's my money? Cash rules everything around me. Everything. Pay me what you owe, don't flee. Pay me. Dusty promises, don't sue. No dusty promises. Gotta get straight to the loot. To the loot. Everything around me, everything. Pay me what you owe, don't flee. Pay me. Dusty promises, don't sue. Dusty promises. Gotta get straight to the loop, to the loop.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing today? I am Tech Coach Ralph. We are engineered to win. This is the weekly economic review where economics meet tech to see how everything is going. It has been a crazy, bumpy week. Isn't the stock market just doing so beautiful? My goodness, look at all that's been happening. We're going to be reading a little bit about that. We're not going to spend too much time on the stock market because if you do, you will just drive yourself absolutely crazy. Let me get this banner up real quick. All right, boom, there we go. All right, so we have a few data points to cover today. We're going to be looking at the job numbers that come out at the beginning of the month, as well as our PMI, our Purchasing Manager Index for manufacturing, as well as non-manufacturing, also known as services. We're also going to do our Doge watch, and we're just going to do a quick read about what's going on in the stock market. But before we do that, quick announcements. First announcement, we are going to be going live tomorrow night on talking about jiu-jitsu with my friends on the Half Guard Halfie channel. So looking forward to seeing you there. If you are interested in talking about jiu-jitsu and competitions and why maybe you should start or give jiu-jitsu a try, all that good stuff. I'm going to have my friends, I'm going to have Justin, going to have Henry, going to have someone that you have not met yet as well. So looking forward to seeing you there. Let me just drop the link in the chat for that. As well as we're going to be, of course, we're going to be going live tomorrow on this channel to learn more, to continuing working with DevOps. We got rudely cut off last week when we were working on our secrets. So we're going to be getting back into that tomorrow as well. Hopefully we do not have any power outages that messes up the show, but that is it. And the regular shows throughout the week are Candid Conversations, our software explorations, and our bug bite. So that is all of the pressing announcements. Anything else? I think that's about it. Do me a favor though, if you haven't done so already, because we're going to get into some really good and fascinating stuff. So go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button so you can know every time that we go live, as well as drop new content. Check out techodrop.dev if you want to work with me one-on-one. And if you want access to exclusive content where, we have all types of stuff to help you level up in your tech game, all of that good stuff. That's techodrop.dev. All right, let's jump into it like this. Let me check the chat first. And we have the one, the only Roxy in the building. Good morning, Roxy. How are you doing today? Hopefully everything is going well. And with that being said, let's get started with the show, because put my hour and a half. Hopefully we won't take the full hour and a half, and we can get out of here in a good time. I'm starting the show a little bit early because somebody might come over, do some work on the AC. I'm not entirely sure yet, but and I have a lot of meetings this afternoon. So let's get it started a little bit early. Let's get this out of the way. Because this week was so crazy, I really wanted to do this review and see all that is going on. All right, so we're going to start off with two things first. We're going to start off with reading into what exactly is going on with our beautiful stock market, and then we're going to take a look at the Senate passing the framework for budget for the budget, and as well as tax cuts. I absolutely love tax cuts. Please allow me to keep more of my own money that I work so hard to earn. So we're going to start off with that. We're going to look at the stock market, and then we're going to look at the Senate Republicans approving the framework for the budget and tax cut stuff. And then we're going to get into our numbers. All right. So let's start off with the stock market, because I know a lot of people's hearts are palpitating because they cannot stand to see their unrealized capital gains turn into unrealized capital losses. So I have this article over from the AP, the Associated Press. Let's do a quick read of that and see what they have to say. It says market plunge with S&P 500 down 6% and Dow down 2,200 after China retaliates against Trump's tariffs. The first thing that comes to mind just by reading this headline is we should, if it's really because China retaliates, we should never allow another country to have so much power over us to make our stock market drop by 20, our Dow drop by 2,200 and our S&P 500 drop down 6%. If one little country could do that, imagine what a group of countries can do. So we need to be a lot more resilient. All right, so let's read real quick. It says, Wall Street's worst crisis since COVID slammed into a higher gear on Friday. The S&P 500 lost 6% after China matched President Trump's big raise in tariffs announced earlier this week. The move increased the stakes in a trade war that could end. Let me zoom in on this actually. All right, there you go. That could end with a recession that hurts everyone. Okay, well. It says, not even a better than expected report on the U.S. jobs market, which is usually the economic highlight of each month, was enough to stop the slide. People are panicking right now. So the drop closed the worst week for the S&P 500 since March 2020, when the pandemic ripped through the global economy. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged 22,000, or not 22,000, God forbid 22,000, 2,231 points, or 5.5%, and the NASDAQ Composite tumbled 5.8% to pull more than 20% below its record set in December. says stocks begin Q2 with a skid. The S&P 500 followed its biggest quarterly loss in nearly 3 years with a drop in the first week of April. The index hit a record on February 19th, but has since tumbled on fear that Trump's administration tariff-centered trade policies could spark inflation and slow the global economy. Let's see. So they're showing a chart here, January 27th. DeepSeek rattles the AI industry. And then February 27th says February 21st, tariffs raised economic fears. And then April 2nd, U.S. imposes steep global tariffs. So basically, they're saying that, from what I'm reading, our stock market is dependent on giving everything away as the United States. So that way the stocks do great, but maybe people's lives are miserable. I don't know. I'm not too sure. All right. So far, there have been few, if any, winners in financial markets from the trade war. Stocks for all but 14 of the 500 companies within the S&P 500 fell on Friday. The price of crude oil tumbled to its lowest level since 2021. Other basic building blocks for economic growth, such as copper, also saw prices slide on worries that the trade war will weaken the global economy. China's response to the U.S. tariffs caused an immediate acceleration of losses in markets worldwide. The Commerce Ministry in Beijing said it would respond to the 34% tariffs imposed by the U.S. on imports from China with its own 34% tariffs on imports of all U.S. products beginning April 10th. The United States and China are the world's two largest economies. So that is where our stock market ended up yesterday. Who knows what the futures are doing right now? But we're down. The Dow is down 2,200, and the S&P 500 is down by almost 6%. We shall see what happens during the week. I remember in 2016 that they said if President Trump was elected, that the stock market would be in utter collapse. And then we broke 20,000, we broke 21,000, 22, 23, 25, 28, 30,000 and beyond. Even after we did, I remember didn't we drop back down to like 18,000 right after COVID started, and then we ended up at like 30,000. So I don't know. I think we have to take a wait and see approach. For me, I'm not worried because all the losses that I have been unrealized. I barely even look at it. I check it every now and then to see what's going on. If you are, retired or something like that, and you actually take money out of your 401k or pension, then maybe maybe you might be a little bit worried about that, but we shall see. As for me right now, I honestly don't care, because I never planned on taking anything out, and I am only continuing to put money in. Money. That's my mindset. While it's dropping, let's get more, and then hopefully it runs it back up. I mean, it will run it back up at some point, and that's how I see it. So I'm not worried. I'm not really concerned about it. Not even a little bit. All right. So that is that topic. Now let's jump over to the Senate Republicans actually doing something. Right. So we have the Senate GOP approving a framework for Trump's tax breaks and spending cuts after late night session. So they actually stayed and worked late yesterday, believe it or not, or maybe it was the day before. I don't know. All right. So it says the Senate Republicans plugged away overnight into early Saturday morning to approve their multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks and spending cuts framework, hurtling past hardened Democratic opposition toward what President Donald Trump calls the big, beautiful bill that's central to his agenda. The vote was 51-48, and when I read this, I was like, oh, it must have been Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, but I stand corrected. It was not Mitch McConnell. Let's read. The vote, 51-48, fell along mostly party lines, but with sharp dissent from two prominent GOP senators. It could have not come at a more difficult political moment. The U.S. economy is churning after Trump's vast tariff scheme. See, and it's interesting how these reporters use these certain buzzwords. It's like instead of saying like you could have said a vast tariff plan, a vast tariff strategy, but they said scheme in a negative connotation, of course, right? Let me see. Is there a way? Let me see. Look up scheme. All right, let's do it a different way. Let's go to define scheme. Scheme, a large-scale systematic plan arranged for attaining a particular object or putting a particular idea into effect. A clever marketing. See, whenever I hear of scheme, I think of a negative connotation, right? This one says, make plans, especially a devious way with intent to do something illegal or wrong. You see, that's... But if we look up the word plan, right? You know how these reporters are. Plan, a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something, an intention or a decision about what one is going to do, so I mean, design or make a plan, so it's interesting how they use these little buzzwords to drive home their point. A tariff scheme as opposed to a tariff strategy or a tariff plan sent stocks plummeting, and experts are warning of soaring costs for customers at home and threats of a potential recession. Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine, so I thought that would have been Mitch McConnell, but it's apparently Susan Collins of Maine, and Rand Paul, I knew it was going to be Rand Paul of Kentucky because he was totally against it, both voted against. But with a nod from Trump, GOP leaders held on, determined to march ahead. Approval paves the way for Republicans in the months ahead to try to power a tax cut bill through both chambers of Congress over the objections of Democrats, which it sounds a lot like the roles have been reversed. All right, so just as they did in Trump's first term with a unified party control in Washington. Let the voting begin, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, said Friday night. The evening kicked off with what was called a vote-a-rama, as Democrats were intent on making the effort as politically painful as possible with actions on some 24 amendments to the package that GOP senators will have to defend before next year's midterm elections. Among them were proposals to ban tax breaks for the super wealthy. I'll be frank with you, right? I oppose banning tax breaks for the super wealthy just in case one day I become one of those super wealthies. Because see me, I have to be strategic, because what if one day I am, and this is what I call having true empathy, because although I may not be able to put myself in the shoes of a super wealthy person, but what if one day I am super wealthy? Will I want to pay more taxes? Absolutely not. So I'm going to be empathetic to the super wealthy, and I'm going to say, if one day I actually do become super wealthy, I want to have tax breaks as well, because guess what? Even when I'm super wealthy, I'm paying way more in taxes than those who are not super wealthy. So I'm going to say I approve giving tax breaks to the super wealthy. All right. They also proposed to end Trump's tariffs, clip his efforts to shrink the federal government and protect Medicaid, Social Security, and other services. I can't say much about the Medicaid, Social Security, and other services, but how could you be against shrinking the federal government? The federal government is not, to me, it shouldn't be a lifetime job. I don't know. I am in favor, and that's why we're going to do Doge Watch at the end of the show. I am in favor of, I was talking about this yesterday, right? There should never be something as non-essential employees. If you're non-essential, then you probably should not be there. Maybe you're essential at a moment, but you can't get away with telling me somebody's non-essential. If you're non-essential, go find an essential job. All right. It says, It says in response to the Trump's national security team use of Signal. Okay, great job on that one. All right. Sought to prohibit military officials from using any commercial messaging application to transmit war plans. I don't think I want the Senate or anyways, whatever. They all failed, though a GOP amendment to protect Medicare and Medicaid was accepted. Okay, that's fine. All right, so Democrats accuse Republicans of laying the groundwork for cutting key safety net programs to help pay for more than $5 trillion tax cuts, they say. Disproportionately benefit the rich. I'll say this, right? I will say this. If there wasn't so much wasteful spending that accumulated over the years from so many different presidents in place, then you wouldn't have to be working with so many cuts, right? And from what I've heard, a lot of it has been getting rid of federal employees, and it's not necessarily getting rid of programs. Although I do believe that there are many programs that can and should probably be getting rid of. All right, so Trump's policies are a disaster, said Trump's best friend, Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer of New York, as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. I don't understand how the Department of Government Efficiency is a disaster. I don't know. I just don't get it yet. Republicans could, and honestly, from what I understand, the Department of Government Efficiency is doing what many on both sides of the aisles have said it needs to be done for ages, but maybe they just don't like who it's being done under, right? Republicans could snuff it out tonight if they wanted to, but Republicans don't, because Republicans, and I think a majority of the country, appreciate government efficiency. Just thinking about my own state and local government, I don't want my money to be wasted, because guess what? I am the one who wakes up early in the morning, goes late at night, and goes to sleep late at night. And for me to see I'll tell you this, right? I'll tell you this. Yesterday, I was supposed to go to jiu-jitsu in the morning, and I was dead tired. I think all the traveling and stuff caught up with me for the past few weeks. And I'm like, and this is for me, like this is how I think about money. When I signed up for jiu-jitsu, right? And I was thinking about like this. I said, I can go for twice a week for this much money, or if I get unlimited, I can go as much as I want, and I can drop down the price. So honestly, that's the reason that I ended up going so many times while I was so dedicated, because it was all a financial decision. And it ended up helping me learn a lot in a short amount of time, but it was all a financial decision. I was like, you know what? Let's throw out a number. Let's say it costs $30 per class if you go twice a week. But unlimited, I could get the price. If I could have made it to every single class, I could get it down to $1 per class, right? But that's just impossible. But for me, so yesterday I was dead tired. I was like, all right, man, if I don't go, it's like I'm giving up X amount of dollars. But I was like, you know what? If I do go, I'm just gonna be miserable all day. So let me not go. Let me not go this morning, and I'll make it up next week. But that's my thought. Like I associate a cost to everything, a time cost, a financial cost. Where if I'm paying for something and I don't use it, then I say, all right, this is how much this is costing me. Just like your gym memberships. I know people who will pay for gym memberships and they will not go for the entire. I know people who will pay for coaching calls. They'll pay to get coached, and then they never set up an appointment. And for me, I'm thinking about, well, you're wasting this much money. I have other people though. They will. I honestly give them extra time because they book the time. I'm like, sure. If it's open on my calendar, I will be more than happy to meet with you, because they are dedicated and they are using they're using it to their maximum potential. Shout out to them. All right. Anyways, let's keep reading. It says the Republicans frame their work as preventing a tax increase for most Americans, arguing that unless Congress acts, the individual and estate cuts that Republicans passed in 2017 will expire at the end of this year. And I remember that time because my paycheck did increase at that time, and that means if this does not pass, then our paychecks will decrease on top of prices probably rising, and the stock market gyrating in a untowards way. All right. It says the Senate package the Senate package pulls in other GOP priorities, including $175 billion to bolster Trump's mass deportation effort, which is running short on cash, and another $175 billion for the Pentagon to build up the military. And I've heard that the military is being decimated over the past few years, and there are more people signing up. So we shall see about that. Senator John Barrasso, the number 2 ranked GOP senator, said voters gave Republicans a mission in November, and the Senate budget plan delivers. It fulfills our promises to secure the border, to rebuild our economy, and to restore peace through strength. The framework now goes to the House, where Speaker Mike Johnson could bring it up for a vote as soon as next week as he works towards a final product by Memorial Day. The House and Senate need to resolve their differences. The House Republicans had already approved their version with $4.5 trillion in tax breaks over 10 years and some $2 trillion in budget. Budget cuts pointed at changes to Medicaid, food stamps, and other programs, and have some panned the Senate approach. Throughout the day, the debate was generally one-sided as Democrats took full advantage of all-night voting frenzy. Pizza? Anybody have some pizza? Anybody has some Hawaii? Do you guys like barbecue pizza, by the way? I think barbecue pizza tastes great. Also, buffalo pizza also is phenomenal. I'm just saying. Pizza was wheeled in on a cart for Republicans and tacos for Democrats. All right. Are they trying to send a message? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Are they trying to send a message? All right. Republicans used their majority to swat, like a fly swatter, just swat back the Democrats' amendments, often in a rambunctious votes. A few Democrats' proposals, however, did draw some GOP support, including those to protect health care, Social Security, and the bargaining rights of federal workers, a potential sign of unrest ahead. Bargaining rights of, I don't even know what that means. What the hell are bargaining rights of federal workers? You know what? I don't have bargaining rights. And you, you should join the union. I want to stand on my own 2 feet. I want to fight my own good fight by doing phenomenal work and by adding value every single day. If you add value, and if you continuously look to add value, if you are always, you should never, I'm going to say this, you should not have to be asked what are your past five accomplishments for the past week. You should be volunteering that on a weekly basis, and you should always be looking to add value. Because if you can add value, you don't need to bargain. Because guess what? If they don't want you here, then they're going to want you there. So that's how I see it, right? Collins said she voted against the full package because potential Medicaid cuts in the underlying House bill would be very detrimental to a lot of families and disabled individuals and seniors in my state. Oh. Says, and Paul questioned the math being used by his colleagues that would pile up on the debt load. Something's fishy. See, I understand where Rand Paul is coming from, to be honest with you. All right. Says, one Republican, Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, expressed his own misgivings about tax breaks adding to the federal deficit and said he had assurances that Trump officials would seek to cut elsewhere. This vote isn't taking place in a vacuum, he said, a nod to the turmoil over Trump's tariffs. One crucial challenge ahead will be for the House to accept the way the Senate's budget plan allows for extending the tax cuts under a scoring method that treats them as not adding to future deficit, something many House Republicans reject. A new estimate from the Joint Committee on Taxation projects the tax bill will add $5.5 trillion over the next decade when including interest, and $4.6 trillion not including interest. On top of that, the senators added an additional $1.5 trillion that would allow some of Trump's campaign promises, such as no tax on tips, Social Security benefits, and overtime, swelling the overall price tag of $7 trillion. I look forward to. Honestly, I don't benefit on no tax on tips. I don't benefit on Social Security benefits, although one of my parents do. And I don't benefit on no tax on overtimes. But I do support the people who make tips, such as Uber drivers and waitresses and all that. I don't believe that you should be taxed on extra money. I don't. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna be honest. I don't believe you should be taxed on any money that you work for. You're gonna say, oh, but what about the roads? I hear you. I hear you. But I personally would rather to pay less in taxes and figure it like find the money somewhere else. Find the money somewhere else. I would rather not have to pay federal. I would rather pay more in my state and local taxes where that money is more direct to my community. And I'll even pay part if you could get rid of federal taxes, and we still have some deductions for like our state and local taxes, then I would probably go with that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just talking. All right. It says Republicans are also looking to increase the $10,000 deduction for state and local the SALT taxes, something that lawmakers from states such as New York, California, and New Jersey say is necessary for their support. That would be the House because there are no Republican senators in those states. It says the House and Senate are also at odds over increasing the debt limit to allow more borrowing. The House had boosted the debt limit by $4 trillion in its plan, but the Senate upped it to $5 trillion to push any further votes on the matter until after next May's midterm elections. The Senate calls for just $4 billion in spending cuts, but GOP leadership emphasizes that's a low floor and that committees will be on the hunt for far more. Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't like in the bill it's $4 billion, but you're going to be looking because for some reason whenever they look they can't find unless they employ the help of DOGE. Already the GOP. What the heck? Already, the GOP the leaders are confronting concerns from fiscal hawks in deep red states and congressional districts who want trillions of dollars in spending cuts to help pay for tax breaks. At the same time, dozens of lawmakers in swing districts and states are worried about what those cuts will mean for their constituents and for their reelection chances. The GOP leadership has encouraged members to just get a budget plan over the line, saying they have time to work out the tough questions on which tax breaks and spending cuts to include. Extending the 2017 breaks would cut taxes for about 3/4 of households, but raise them for about 10%. In 2027, about 45% of the benefits of all tax cuts would go to those making roughly $450,000 or more, according to the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center, which analyzes tax issues. So you're telling me that all right. What if I say this? In 2027, about 55% of the benefits of all the tax cuts would go to those making roughly $450,000 or less, according to the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center, which analyzes tax. Is that an accurate statement to say? And so they're saying, I'm gonna add to this, right? Hold on, let me use some of my web development skills real quick. I'm gonna make it a little bit more. Let's do that. And we're gonna go here. Let's go to edit. I'm going to make it complete. Right? And we would say about 55%. And we're gonna say less. There. All right. So extending the says where did it go? What? Oh, there it goes. Right. Yeah. So, so we have the one that we read that it came with, right? But in 2027, about 55% of the benefits of all taxes would go to those making roughly $450,000 or less. So I'm just saying. You know how they always say keep that same energy on both sides. I just literally kept the same energy on both sides. All right. So with that being said, we are going to get into our numbers for the week. I just wanted to read those two articles about how the stock market is collapsing, but is it really? We shall see. And about the Senate Republicans approving the budget and tax framework that if we do not have, then all of our paychecks are going to be a little bit lower come maybe August, maybe something like that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know when they actually expire officially, where we're going to see a higher, less money on our paychecks, but we'll keep that in mind. All right. So with that being said, we are going to jump into our numbers for the week. All right. So let's see what we got going on over here. All right. For this week, we have the Institute of Supply Management Manufacturing PMI, as well as the Services PMI, also known as the non-manufacturing PMI, and then we have employment numbers. All right, so let's take care of the PMI first, and then we'll take a look at the employment numbers. Okay, so I'm going to search for PMI. We're going to do first the Purchasing Manager Index. What exactly is the Purchasing Manager Index? It comes from the Institute of Supply Management. It is, and I'm going to search for, what job should I search for? Oh, I know what I do. All right, so the Purchasing Manager Index is like a report card for the economy. Imagine you have a friend who checks how well stores and factories are doing each month. They ask questions like, are you making more or fewer things this month, or prices going up or down? Based on the answers, they give a score between 0 and 100. If the score is above 50, it means the economy is growing, like getting a good grade. If the score is below 50, it means the economy might be slowing down, like getting a lower grade. So the PMI helps people understand if the economy is doing well or not. All right, so for my example, I am going to search for, I know one. I'm going to search for a in-ground pool installation company. All right, let's see what it says about this in-ground pool installation company. All right, so it says, what is the all right, so we know that. All right, so how does the PMI affect the in-ground pool installation company? Consumer demand. If PMI is high, let's say above 50, it indicates that manufacturers are producing more goods, and that businesses are optimistic about the economy. People tend to spend money on larger investments like in-ground pools when they feel confident about their financial situation. So a high PMI could mean more customers for the pool installation company. Material costs. An increase in PMI often leads to increased production in manufacturing, which can affect the prices of material and the pool company needs like concrete, tiles, and pumps. If the PMI is rising, material costs might also rise due to higher demand. This could impact the company's pricing strategy. Supply chain services. A higher PMI suggests that factories are producing more, which means that suppliers of pool materials are likely to be busy keeping up with demand. This can lead to better availability for roofing materials like tiles, and other pool equipment. Conversely, if the PMI is low, a pool installation company might face delays in getting needed materials, which can slow down project completion times. The labor market. A strong manufacturing sector indicated by high PMI often correlates with a healthy job market. This means potential clients may have more disposable income due to greater employment. If more people are employed, they might be more likely to invest in luxury items like pools. And lastly, investment plans. If the PMI indicates growth, companies, including those in construction and landscaping, may increase their investment in new projects to expand their offerings. This competitive landscape could lead to more collaboration or partnership for pool installation companies, like offering package deals with landscaping services. So, in summary, in conclusion, the PMI can have a substantial effect on an in-ground pool installation company by influencing customer demand and the availability and cost of materials, as well as overall economic climate. By keeping an eye on PMI, the swimming pool company can make better informed decisions about pricing, supply chain management, and investment strategies. All right, so let's go and take a look at this report real quick. And we're going to look at the manufacturing PMI. All right. So the manufacturing PMI is at 49%. It was projected to be 49.5, and we missed it by 0.5. But even so, it was even projected that we would be in the lower than what we were at last month, but it actually dropped 0.5 points more than was forecasted. Let's take a quick look. It says, let's see. Economic activity for manufacturing sector contracted in March after 2 consecutive months of expansion preceded by 26 straight months of contraction, says the National Supply Executive in the latest manufacturing ISM report on business. Let's see. The report was issued by Timothy R. Fiore. The manufacturing PMI registered 49% in March, 1.3 percentage points lower compared to the 50.3 percentage recorded in February. The overall economy continued in expansion for the 59th consecutive month after 1 month contraction in April of 2020. Let's see. The new orders index contracted for the second month in a row following a 3-month period of expansion. The figure of 45.2% is 3.4 percentage points lower than 48.6 percentage points recorded in February. The March reading of the production index, 48.3%, is 2.4 percentage points lower than the February's figure of 50.7. Let's see. Anything else? Let me see. New export orders index at 49.6. Fiore continues. In March, U.S. manufacturing slipped into contraction after expanding for only marginally in February. Demand and production retreated and destaffing continued as panelist companies responded to demand to confusion. Let's see what the respondents are saying. Complex markets saw a surge in volume buying in anticipation of 2025 being slightly better than 2024. In March, however, all markets saw a slowdown with fears of inventory stocking to hold through a potential crisis. Let's see. Customers are pulling in orders due to anxiety about continued tariffs and pricing pressures. Demand has been stable and consistent. No evidence of growing demand. Tariff impacts and mitigation strategies are daily conversation. I think that's all right. So that's it. I do have a video to watch about the PMI. So let's take a look at that. And we want to actually look at the PMI.
Yes, boy, there's some weak numbers here, gang. These are ISM for the month of March. They have no mid-month read. These are the only and final for March. On the services index, 50.8. That's about 2 points less than we were expecting. Weakest level since June of last year. Prices paid. This is the good news. It went down. It went down to 60.9. That's the smallest prices paid component since Nova of last year. And this is one we're coming down as a good thing. If we look at new orders, 50.4, that's about 1.5 points less than we were expecting. The last time we were at these levels would be June of last year. And finally, on the employment front, and this is important considering we had ADP yesterday a bit better, and tomorrow's the big jobs report, 46.2. To find a lower number, I'm going back to D's of 23. All the other comps were, of course, last year. This goes back to D's of 23. Interest rates, well, as the equities make new lows, interest rates are making new lows. And as Jim's pointed out, there is a positive to lower interest rates. I know our Treasury Secretary was on our program not long ago on CNBC saying he was going to get long rates down. One heck of a way to do it is to, of course, make the economy potentially weaker, or, of course, a lot of this could just be the uncertainty and nervousness about how all this will turn out in the terms of equity prices, treasuries being one good hedge. But I will tell you something. The dollar index, everybody expected to be much higher. It's not. However, it's orderly. So if you look at the dollar index, it's basically at a 6-month low. You look at the euro, it's basically at a 6-month high. You look at the yen, it's basically a 6-month high. If you look at the onshore and offshore yuan, they're basically at 2-month lows, so the dollar's at 2-month highs. Yes, it's messy, but it's orderly, and in many ways, it adds up and makes sense, especially if you look at the breakdown of the dollar index. Sarah, back to you.
Oh, yes. We'll talk about it. Thank you, Rick. Rick Santelli.
All right, so that was a report on the PMI. I think they kind of covered a couple of things. We haven't covered the services PMI yet, so we are going to do that next. However, we have to stop the show. We got my guy in the building, the nourishing word himself, Rod Brown. Shout out to my guy, Rod Brown. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? Congratulations on all of your success. And Rod, I am just, you remember 50 song, Patiently Waiting? I am patiently waiting to send you your very, very first super chat. Congratulations to you, Rod Brown. You are, I don't even know, we started communicating less than a year ago, and all the things that I've seen you done in the past year, it is absolutely phenomenal.
I appreciate you. We the best.
So shout out to you, Rod Brown, and I wish you the best, the very, very best on all of your journey and efforts. All right, we're gonna jump into our next topic for today. Let's go over to our next indicator for today is going to be so we're not going to do the JOLTS yet. We're going to go into the non-manufacturing PMI. All right. So that one was expected to be 53. It's 50.8. And I'm not surprised with all the chaos that's going on that it's not what it is expected at. So let's go to PMI again. And we're going to search for Services Manager Index. All right. So what is the Services Manager Index? Honestly, it's just like the manufacturing index. However, it's more for services, things that you cannot, not for like tangible goods. So it's things that people do for you. So imagine you go to places like restaurants, hair salons, or even your favorite online store to buy things like clothes or games. So the clothes and the games would be manufacturing PMI, but the services the services rendered to you would be the services PMI. So all these places provide services. They don't make things like factories do, but they help you do things or offer products you need. The Services Manager Index, also called the non-manufacturing PMI, is a number that tells us how well these service businesses are doing, kind of like a report card for the entire services industry. Above 50 means service businesses are doing well. They're busy hiring more workers, and lots of people are using their services. Below 50 means service businesses are slowing down. Fewer people are eating out, shopping online, or getting haircuts, so businesses might not need as many workers or supplies. I think that applies across the board. All right, so why is this important? If it's important because it tells us whether the economy is healthy or struggling. If the services PMI is high, it's like businesses are saying, we're busy and people are spending money. This is good because more people have jobs and businesses are growing. If the services PMI is low, it's like a business saying things are slow and fewer people are using our services. This could be a warning that the economy is not doing well and businesses might need to cut back on hiring, even close down or even close down. All right. So let's use an example of the services PMI as I have one. Overnight mall security guard. All right. So how does the services PMI affect an overnight mall security guard? I don't know why I chose overnight mall security guard, but that's just what came into my mind. All right. So please forgive me. Let me get up out of here. All right. Cool. It says, all right. So foot traffic. If PMI is high, it indicates that people might be spending more money and shopping more. As a result, the mall may see higher foot traffic, which means more people visiting stores. This could lead to the need for more vigilance and ensuring the safety of customers and stores. Store operations. If a strong service sector often leads to stores being open longer hours, or even adding new stores. If the mall has new stores or extended hours, the security guard will need to be aware of more entrances and exits to monitor. Event planning. When businesses are doing well, they may host events or promotions to attract customers. The security guard might have to prepare for larger crowds and ensure everything runs smoothly. So speaking of events, right? I had a friend who was he came up, like, he learned a lot about wines and became a manager for a wine and spirit store. And he would actually host and conduct his own wine tastings at the store. And I can see, like, when the economy is doing well, people want to spend money and they want to do cool things. And that way you get to provide the service of doing those cool things. I think that's really cool. And we could have did some great things around that. But anyways, I digress. So employment and staffing. A good PMI might lead to more hiring in the mall. This could mean that there are more employees around, and as such, the security guard might need to coordinate with more staff to ensure everything is secured properly. Then there's risk assessment. A bustling mall may have an increased risk of petty crime like shoplifting, simply because there are more people around. An alert security guard will need to be will need to be extra vigilant during peak times to deter criminals. So to summarize, a high services PMI generally points to a thriving economy, which can lead to more activity and responsibilities for a mall security guard. They would need to adapt to the changing environment to keep the mall safe and secure. All right, so let's read the report on the services PMI. Okay, so the business activity, let me see, service PMI 50.8. Business activity 55.9, new orders 50.4, employment index 46.2, supplier delivery index at 50.6. All right. Economic activity in the services sector expanded for the 9th consecutive month in March, says the nation's purchasing and supply executives. In the latest services ISM report, the service PMI registered at 50.8%, indicating expansion for the 55th time in 58 months since the recovery from the coronavirus pandemic-induced recession began in June of 2020. Let's see. In March, services PMI registered at 50.8%, 2.7 percentage points lower than the February figure of 53.5. Business activity index registered at 55.9. 1.5 percentage points higher than the 54.4% recorded in February. Says this is the index 58th consecutive month of expansion. The new orders index recorded a reading of 50.4% in March, 1.8 percentage points lower than the February figure of 52.2%. The employment index dropped into contraction territory for the first time since 6 months. The reading of 46.2%, which is 7.7 percentage points decrease compared to the 53.9% points recorded in February. All right. The supplier delivery index 50.6, 2.8 points lower than the 53.4 percentage points recorded in February. Let's see. Supplier deliveries is inverse. A reading of above 50 indicates slower deliveries, which is typically as the economy improves and customer demand increases. All right, cool. Let's see. Anything else? Let's go down to what the people are saying. All right. So, Restaurant sales and traffic have improved in the past month overall. Valentine's Day, which I released the album Abandoned, so go check it out if you haven't, typically starts an improved seasonal trend that was consistent with this year. We remain optimistic about coming months despite recent news of possible recession and tariffs that may not have played out yet. That's from accommodation and food services. Let's see. Patient volume to continue to exceed forecasts, leading to increased revenues and an improved financial situation. Supply chains continue to operate effectively, and few categories, including IV solutions, are showing signs of duress. Labor outlook is improving with reliance on travel staff continuing to recede. Outlook for the duration of the quarter is favorable. All right, that's from healthcare and social assistance. Let's see. We are holding back some money for emergency use in case the new administration targets grant usage and puts a hold on current spending, transportation and warehousing. Tariff confusion and the variety of ways that suppliers are responding to, have a strong effect on our purchasing decision this month, causing us to shift spend and in some cases buy in advance to report of a reported tariffs. All right, so that's the report on the services PMI, where honestly the services PMI for the most part they use the manufacturing PMI in order to deliver whatever it is that they're delivering, unless they're like a hairstylist who's just they're not actually using a product, I guess. I don't know. But I think anything you use, you're gonna need some type of manufactured product in order to provide a service. All right. So that's my thoughts on that. I think the two really go hand in hand for the most part, but that is about it. All right. So let's go back to full screen. And that is both of our services PMI as well as our manufacturing PMI. All right. Let's see where we're at. Rod Brown said, appreciated, bro. No, Rod Brown, you know more than anything else.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for your consistency and your hard work and just being who you are at the end of the day, right? Just being who you are, right? So, let's see, what else do we have on the docket for today? So we do have jolts. All right, so let's go back to full. Let me go back to full screen. Or not full screen. Let me go back to the dictionary screen. And we have our, let's see. What's up, Wave Nerd? How you doing? I'm sorry, I have not responded to your email yet. It's been a crazy week being back home for after I was out all last week. I promise I will get to your email between today and tomorrow. I read it. I haven't been able to respond to it yet. So I'm going to reach out to you and get a little bit more details on what everything is about. But I will definitely get back to you, Wave Nerd. Shout out to you. Wave Nerd says, great info. Thank you so much, Wave Nerd.
We the best.
All right. So that on this screen, that's where it wants to mess up. Let me fix it here. Hopefully, I gotta follow up with these people because I do not like when it's messing up my. It just looks so bad when it messes it up like that. It's so unprofessional. Let's see, move that right there. All right, cool. All right, so I got you. We will definitely be communicating very, very soon. All right, let's continue with let's start off with jolts. The job openings and labor turnover statistics, or what is it, survey. All right, so let's go and look for jolts. All right, so JOLTS, the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey, is brought to us by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Shout out to my guy, Chris Parks. I believe that's the one he works for. All right, so it's a report that gives us important information about jobs in the United States. It's like a big checkup to see how the job market is doing. This survey is done by the government. JOLTS looks at three main things: job openings, hires, separations, which include quits, layoffs, and discharges, and other separations, right? So job openings, how many jobs are available. It's like counting how many help wanted signs you see. So by where I live, there's a Home Depot, there's a Whole Foods, there's a BJ's, there's a Walgreens, not many of them, but there's a Walgreens, there's Chick-fil-A, there's Chipotle, there's Wendy's. And it's like, if you're to drive by, and how many times did you see help wanted signs? That would be the job openings, right? Hires, this is how many people got hired for jobs. It's like counting how many people started new jobs last month. Separations is how many people left their job. This can happen in three ways. Quits, people who say, you know what, I've had enough here. I don't have to take this. I'm out of here. People who decide to leave their jobs on their own. Layoffs and discharges, people who are let go by their employers because there's not enough work or other reasons. And separations, people who left their jobs for reasons like retirement. Why JOLTS is important. The JOLTS report helps us understand the job market better. Here's why it's important. JOLTS, so job openings. If there's a lot of job openings, it means companies are growing and need more workers. This is usually a good sign for the economy. Hires, if many people are getting hired, it means there are lots of opportunities for work. Separations, if a lot of people are quitting, it might mean they are finding better jobs elsewhere. If there are a lot of layoffs, it might mean companies are having trouble. What it all means: high job openings and high hires. The job market is strong. Companies are hiring a lot. High job openings and low hires. What? Companies want to hire, but maybe they can't find the right people. That is an issue that we have every single day. High quits, people are confident they can find new or better jobs. And high layoffs, there might be a problem in the economy or in specific industries. All right, so basically, JOLTS is a big health checkup on how jobs and how people, which jobs lead to economic success or economic distress, all right? Okay, so let's use an example for the JOLTS. Let's see, we could use a, let's see. We could use, I don't know. Let's go with, thinking of a random job, race car driver. How does the JOLTS affect a race car driver? Let's see. A race car driver. So, understanding the, all right, let's go to, all right. So how does the, that's a good one. Understanding the economy and sponsorship. So this is a way that the JOLTS could affect a race car driver. Wait, whoa. Just hold up 1 second here. Who do we have in the building? We got the one, the only, Yakar in the building. What's up, Yakar? How is it going? I'm like, what up, though? What's good? Salute to you. Just checking in. Be blessed. Thank you so much, Yakar. You know, Mr. Technique. And I was watching After Hours this morning, and I saw that, I think it was it yesterday? Was your birthday yesterday? Happy birthday to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Happy birthday. All right, let's continue on. It's today. Well, it's even better. Happy birthday today. It's not even belated. Happy birthday to you, Yakar, my guy. Got you. They waited till midnight. Okay, I got you. Happy birthday. Shout out to you. My birthday is in 10 days. My birthday is in 10 days on tax day. So, you know how it goes. They should be sending me all their tax money, but they have to send it to the federal government. So it is what it is. All right, let's continue on. All right, so sponsorship decisions. Race car drivers often rely on sponsorships from companies. If JOLTS show high job openings and low unemployment, it suggests that businesses are thriving. This may encourage companies to invest in sponsorships. as they have more cash flow and a positive outlook on their financial future. Fan engagement and merchandise sales. A healthy job market can lead to increased consumer spending if people feel secure in their jobs, which JOLTS data on labor turnover can indicate. They might be more willing to spend money on race events, merchandise, or tickets. This can lead to increased revenue for racing teams and consequently, try that one more time. Consequently, better support for drivers. Team employment. Why is there? That's weird. Team employment and dynamics, team staffing. The JOLTS data can, you know what? On tomorrow night's show for the Jiu-Jitsu channel, I have a question about that. Team staffing and payments it is gonna be an icebreaker for tomorrow's show that I'm gonna be asking to Henry, to Justin, to whoever else is there. I want their take on it. I want their take on it to see what they think about this. But you have to tune in tomorrow to find out about that. All right. It says the JOLTS data can also reflect the labor market for skilled workers. If a racing team needs to hire engineers, mechanics, or technicians, and the JOLTS data indicates a tight labor market where it's difficult to find candidates, it could impact the team's performance. A well-staffed team is like a well-oiled machine. It's crucial for a race car driver to have the best support possible during races. Timing and strategy, career decisions. For a race car driver considering a new team or contract, understanding the trend shown by JOLTS can help inform their strategy. If the labor market shows a high turnover, i.e. many employees leaving their jobs, it might suggest instability at certain times. A driver might decide to avoid teams with high turnover rates to ensure a more stable environment. Says, in summary, a race car driver might primarily focus on racing. The insights gathered from the JOLTS survey can influence financial support, team dynamics, and overall career strategies, making it a relevant tool in their broader professional landscape. See, I never thought about that. I just say, I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, let's just throw a NASCAR driver, a race car driver, and look at how the JOLTS could actually have a positive or negative impact on a race car driver. Who would have thunk it? All right, so let's jump into the JOLTS report itself. And let me see, are we able to zoom in on this? Let's see how that's gonna look. Let me see. All right, it's cool. Yep. All right. So, the JOLTS program of the Bureau of Labor Statistics produces monthly and annual estimates of job openings and hires and separations for the nation. The JOLTS program also produces monthly state estimates for all 50 states and the District of Columbia. All right. So let's jump into that. Let's see latest numbers. Latest job openings level in February 2025, 7,568,000. That's all right. So 3.4% latest hire rate in February 2025, 3.3% latest separation rate in February 2025. So it's all right. All right. So new releases February job openings title changed little. Hires and total separations are unchanged. So nothing bad happened, but nothing really good. I mean, I guess no news is good news, right? But it says January job openings rates up in 3 states, down in 2. Hires rates down in 11, up in 4. All right. So, anyways, let's take a look at the JOLTS report itself. All right, it is. Let me shrink this a little bit. Let me zoom out. Even zooming out kind of sucks. Let me see. All right, we'll do that. Let me see, make sure we are clear. Yep, all right, we're good. So let's read this together real quick. The number of job openings was little changed at 7.6 million in February. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Over the month, hires and total separations held at 5.4 million and 5.3 million, respectively. Within separations, quits 3.2 million and layoffs and discharges at 1.8 million changed little. This release includes estimates of the number and rate of job openings, hires, and separations for the total non-farm sector by industry and by establishment size classes. Job openings include all positions that are open on the last day of business. Hires and separations include all changes to payroll during the entire month. Job openings. The number of job openings was little change at 7.6. We read that, but it was down by 877,000 over the year. So that means that the job openings didn't change for the month, but over the year they're down by a little less than 1 million. That means that jobs are being filled or jobs are being closed, like saying we don't need this position anymore. The job openings rate at 4.5%, little change over the month. The number of jobs opening decreased in finance and insurance by negative 80,000. Hires in February, the number and rate of hires were unchanged at 5.4 million and 3.4% respectively. The number of hires was little change in all industries in February. Separations. The total number of separations, including quits, layoffs, and discharges, and other separations. Quits are generally voluntary. All right, we read that already. Let's go. The number of rate of total separations in February unchanged at 5.3 million and 3.3%. The total separations increased in state and local government, education plus 32% or plus 32,000, and federal government plus 11,000. Those were separations, all right? So in February, the number of quits was little change at 3.2%, but was down 273,000 over the year. Over the month, the quits rate was unchanged at 2%. Quits increased in state and local government, education, plus 28,000. In February, the number of layoffs and discharges was little change at 1.8 million. The layoffs and discharges rate was unchanged at 1.1%. The layoffs and discharges increased in retail trade plus 67,000, real estate and rental leasing plus 24,000, and federal government plus 18,000. The layoffs and discharges decreased in transportation, warehousing, and utilities negative 42,000. Okay. Let's see. In February, the quits rate and other separations decreased I don't care about that. The January 2025, the number of job openings for January 2025 was revised up by 22,000 to 7.8 million. The number of hires was revised down by 22,000 to 5.4 million. And the number of total separations was revised up by 20,000 to 5.3 million. All right, cool. Nothing much to talk about there. All right, let's go back to full screen. And let's see. Your car says Taxman. Yep. Where's my sound effect? That is me. And also, I believe that's the day that the Titanic sunk, and I believe that's the day that President Abraham Lincoln was sadly assassinated. Bruh. My birthday is a very, very dark day. I'll tell you that. The Titanic, Abraham Lincoln, taxes. It's just a lot. It's a lot. And there's probably a bunch of other stuff that happened on that day as well. All right. Let's see what else. And your car also gave me the assist, and he says consequently. I needed that because I was struggling over here. All right, let's continue with the show. Let's see if we can, let me see, where are we at? Let's go back over here. I'm just gonna skim through. All right, so ADP non-farm employment changes. Last month we had 84,000 and we actually got 155,000 this month, which was expecting 118,000. So we did a lot of hiring in the month of March. Let's see, initial job. I'm not going to jump into initial jobless claims. Last week was 225,000. It was also estimated to be 225,000 again. However, we reduced it by 249,000. 219,000. All right, let's go to. We are going to look at. Let's see. So let's look at the job numbers. All right, so we're going to look at the job numbers, and then we'll look at the D.O.G.E watch. Let's look at the monthly job numbers, and then that'll be it for our reporting. Let's see. All right, so the monthly job numbers, it is a big snapshot that shows us how many people in the country have jobs, how many are looking for jobs, and how much money people are making. Created by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it comes out every month. Tells us how many jobs are added or lost, the unemployment rate, how much people are being paid. The report also shows whether the amount of money people are earning is going up or staying the same. It is also called average hourly earnings. This report is important because it gives us a sense of how the economy is doing. It helps everyone from the government to business owners to everyday people make decisions. Here's why. If lots of jobs are being added, it means companies are hiring more workers because they are growing. This is usually a sign that the economy is doing well and people are likely to spend more money. If fewer jobs are being added or jobs are lost, it could be a warning that the economy is slowing down, meaning businesses might be cutting costs and not hiring new workers. Let's see, the employment rate helps the government know how many people are struggling to find work so they can think about ways to help, like creating more job programs. Wages, if people's wages are going up, it means that businesses might be competing to hire workers, so they have to offer better pay. If wages aren't increasing, people might feel like they have less money to spend. All right, so let's use an example. Let's go with, let's say, I have a good one. Elite, or let's say NBA superstar with multiple baby mamas. Let's see how that one. Let's see how that's going to work out. I could have said Cam Newton for former NFL players, but whatever. We'll go with this one. So, here's how, it's so funny. It says, here's how it could impact the NBA superstar with multiple baby mama. Income and spending power. The jobs report reflects the overall health of the economy. If the report shows that many people are getting jobs and the economy is growing, it usually means people have more money to spend. It could lead to an increase in demand for NBA games and merchandise. For our superstar, this could translate to higher ticket sales, which might increase his earnings through higher endorsements deals or a larger portion of team's revenue. Consumer confidence. A strong jobs report can boost consumer confidence. When people feel secure in their jobs, they are more likely to spend on entertainment, including going to NBA games. If the fans are excited and spending money, our superstar could benefit from increased visibility and popularity, making him even more attractive figure for brands and sponsors and women, I guess, right? Child support. All right, there we go. Here we go. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty, right? Many NBA players, God darn it, ChatGPT, OpenAI. That is generalizing. That is generalizing. Many NBA players are financially responsible for their children. Shouldn't they all be responsible for? All right, hold up, ChatGPT. Shouldn't all NBA players be financially responsible for their children, especially if they have multiple baby mamas? If the economy is good and superstar's income increases due to higher demand for games, he might be better positioned to financially support his children. Conversely, if the job reports show rising unemployment or a struggling economy, there's a chance that fans and potentially sponsors might have to pull back on spending, which could risk his income and ability to provide. So that means that the NBA players need to be checking pretty much all athletes, all entertainers need to be checking the job reports to see what can they do to lower their burdens, right? As with long-term contracts and investments, a consistent trend of good employment numbers might give the superstar confidence to invest more in long-term commitments or business ventures, knowing that the economy is stable. If he has a sound financial plan, it can provide long-term security for his family. In summary, the job reports affects overall economy, consumer behavior, the superstar's earning, and ultimately his capacity to support his children. good economic data can mean better financial health for him and his family, while poor data could indicate potential challenges ahead. All right, let's look at this report real quick. Then we have a quick video to take a look at it for the job reports, and then we will wrap it up. Well, then we have to do Doge Watch, right? But let's take a quick look. Non-farm payroll employment rose by 228,000 in March, and the unemployment rate changed little at 4.2%. I think it was 4.1 and went up to 4.2, but it's interesting that more jobs being added, but the unemployment rate goes up. But so that means, I don't know, I don't know. I'm a little confused by that. I never understand how you know what? Let's do this. How is the unemployment rate calculated? So the unemployment rate is calculated by dividing the number of unemployed people by the total number of people in the labor force, which includes both employed and unemployed individuals, then multiplying by 100 to express the percentage. So if people see, and this is why this unemployment rate is kind of fishy, because if people drop out of if people don't classify themselves as unemployed, then it's going to drop the number down. But then if people do classify themselves, if let's say in the month of March, they say, well, I'm unemployed, or I'm not considering myself as unemployed. And then in April, they say, well, now I'm considering myself unemployed. Then it's gonna fluctuate the numbers, all right? So we shall see. Says here's a more detailed breakdown. The labor force. The labor force consists of all the people who are either employed or unemployed and actively seeking work. Unemployed. This includes people who are not working but are actively looking for work. So you're not working but you're actively looking for work. So the calculation determine the number of unemployed people. That means the people who are not working but actively looking. Determine the number of people who are in the labor force, employed plus unemployed. Divide the number by the people who are by the total number of unemployed people. Multiply by 100 and you get the percentage, right? So I think this part right here is what skews the numbers by how do you decide if somebody is actively or not actively looking for work? So I don't know. For example, if 500 people are unemployed and the total labor force is 3,500, the unemployment rate would be 500 divided by 3,500 times 100 would be 14.29. All right. Anyways, let's go back to this. Employment also increased in retail trade, partially reflecting the return of workers from a strike. I didn't know there was a strike going on. What strike? Federal government employment declined. Really? Really? I'm surprised. This news release presents statistics from 2 monthly surveys. The household survey measures labor force status, including unemployment, by demographic characteristics. The establishment survey measures non-employment hours and earnings by industry. For more information about the concept and statistical methodology used by these two surveys, see technical notes. All right, so household survey data, both unemployment rates at 4.2% and the number of unemployed people at 7.1 million changed little in March. It's interesting, right? There's 7.1 million people unemployed, right? However, if we look at the JOLTS report, right, there are 7.6 million job openings in the month of February, right? But in the month of March, there are, where did I just read it? There are 7.1 million people unemployed. So there are technically more job openings than people who identify as unemployed. Why cannot those 7.1 million people fit into those 7.6 million jobs? Possibly because they do not have, they're not a fit. It could be the jobs that are opening they might be either low level jobs. It could be I don't know, services jobs, while the 7.1 million might be for a different. It might be healthcare. It might be engineering and stuff like that. So that's where we have that imbalance. But there are more job openings than there are people who are looking for work, but it just might not be a fit for that work, right? The unemployment rate has remained narrow range of 4% to 4.2% since May of 2024. Among the major work groups, the unemployment rate for adult men is 3.8%, adult women at 3.7%, teenagers at 13.7%, whites at 3.7%, blacks at 6.2%, Asians at 3.5%, Hispanics at 5.1%, show little or no change in March. The number of long-term unemployment, those jobless for 27 weeks or more at 1.5 million, changed little in March. The long-term unemployment accounted for 21.3% of all unemployed people. The labor force participation rate at 62.5%. Little change over the month. The employment population ratio held at 59.9% in March. The number of people employed part-time for economic reasons at 4.8 million. Changed little in March. These individuals would have preferred full-time employment, but were working part-time because their hours had been reduced or they were unable to find full-time employment. The number of people not in the labor force who are currently want a job, but essentially unchanged at 5.9 million in March. These individuals were not counted as unemployed because they were not actively looking for work during the 4 weeks preceding the survey or were unavailable to take a job. Let me see. Anything else? Healthcare added 54,000 in March. In March, employment for social assistance increased by 24,000. Retail trade added 24,000. Employment in transportation and warehousing rose by 23,000. Within the government, the federal government employment declined by only 4,000 in March. That seems like a little. Following a loss of 11,000 in February. I thought it would have been a lot more than that. Employees on paid leave or receiving ongoing severance are counted as employed in the establishment survey. Ongoing severance. Oh, okay. So if you have severance, you're not counted. All right, that's what it is. Because a lot of them are on severance, so they're not counted as they're counted as employed. All right, gotcha. Employment showed little change over the month in other major industries. In March, hourly earnings for all employees rose by 9 cents or 0.3%. That's about it. All right, cool. What's up, Kuya Nimbus? How are you doing this morning? I will read your chat in just a second. We just have to get to one last video, and then we will go over to the chat, and then we'll have D.O.G.E watch to end the show. All right, let's go to here. All right, so let's take a quick listen in onto the job numbers.
First, let's get these numbers, Rick, and see if it's starting already.
Yes, this is a big March jobs report. Non-farm payrolls beats estimates. 228,000 jobs. That would be the strongest this year, and it would comp to 323,000 in D's of last year. There is, however, a minus 48,000 2-month revision, minus 48K. Now, let's go for the unemployment rate, shall we? Expected 4.1 moves up to 4.2. That equals where we were in November. To find a higher rate, you're going to October of 22. Now, let's look at earnings, shall we? This is month over month. Comes in exactly as expected at 3/10 and exactly is in the rearview mirror. If we look at a year-over-year perspective, it's coming in light. 3.8%. We're expecting 4%. 4% was our last look. 3.8. When was the last time we were at 3.8? Well, 3.6 is our comp. That's July of last year. So we have been there, and we have softened and come back before. Yes, July of last year when it was 3.6. Now, let's look at hours. Hours for all employees. 34.2, which is what we expected. That's up a tenth. That's good news from 34.1, equals where we were in D's. To find a higher number, you're in Nova of last year. Labor force participation rate coming in at 62.5. That is indeed good news. It's up a tenth from both expectations and the rearview mirror. 62.6 was January, so we reversed that 62.4 that was down in the middle there. And finally, the last number, U6, or the underemployment rate. That comes in at 7.9%, down from 8%. That 8% level we had last look.
That is pretty amazing, though. I didn't even read that part. It was expected at 114,000, and it actually did. 228,000 for the job numbers. So that it kind of doubled the expectations. So that is awesome. Like, regardless of all that crazy stuff that we see happening in the markets this past week and stuff like that, talks of tariffs, people are getting back to work, and people want to work. So that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Let's keep watching. Let's finish it up.
Was the highest since October of 21, so it's nice to see that. It was 7.5 in January of this year. Of course, this report, in my opinion, has some good aspects to it, but I think those will be diminished. I think the market would only react to more negative aspects considering the recent news. And very, very quickly here, I went back and looked at the crash in 87 from October 19th, 7 sessions. We went from a 10-year of 10.23% to 8.72% in 7 trading sessions. That's a drop of 15%. If you equate that to our last peak now in 10s at 436, it arrives at a number of, drumroll, 3.71% on a 10-year if we keep the same stencil as the crash in 87. Back to the panel.
And I just thought, like, as I was listening, I thought about this, right? If the unemployment rate was at 4.1%, and that's because a lot of people had gave up on trying to find jobs, right? Because numbers didn't really change much, but if they gave up on trying to find jobs, but now, if people are joining, are considering themselves unemployed again, looking to get back into trying to find a job, having more confidence in the job market, hearing about all these companies who are going to be building in America, who are going to be investing in America, and like, oh, you know what? Let me get back into the job market to try to find something, and that makes the unemployment rate go up a little bit. That's actually a good thing if people are having more confidence in the job market, into the economy, to actually get back to work. So that might actually be a good thing. Just my thoughts. All right. Let me check the chat real quick, and then we're gonna finish up with Doge Watch to see what is Doge reporting on today. All right. So we got Kuya Nimbus in the building. What's up, Kuya Nimbus? Says glad I was able to catch your stream. Love the way your channel is informative in more than one facet. Thank you so much, Kuya Nimbus. Appreciate that. I'll say this as well. I try to relate all of this stuff into tech, right? Because I was saying the other day, I don't know if you caught it, because I know you're working on you're like on a training or something like that you're working on, which I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but. I'm a Q engineer, right? Senior Q engineer. But when I'm learning DevOps, when I'm learning large language models, when I'm learning ethical hacking, they all flow back into my QA practices. And then when we look at this economic review, and I see how does it relate to tech, it all comes back together. And seeing, like, when we look at the example of how the job information can affect a race car driver, I'm like, wow, I couldn't, like, and the economic dictionary that I built, to me everything is intertwined, you know. So that's a great observation, and I really appreciate that. Question for you though: how I believe you said you were doing like some type of Red Hat training the other night. How's that going? And feel free to share anything about it in the chat. I'm just curious. I think that's really cool, and like I said the other day, I wish you the absolute best. And you know, so I'm just curious, like, what does that entail? What are you doing with that? How does that work? Is it like an online training? Just curious. Please share whatever you're willing to share. It says, as you also have to factor in people not even looking at that point. They're talking about the jobs. Yep, that makes sense. And that's what I was just saying. Like, if it's going back up, that means people are starting to look again. So it can, when they say, oh, it was done at 3 point something, it could be people had stopped looking. It could be that they were getting jobs. And now that it's going up, it's like, oh, you know what? I couldn't find a job for whatever reason. I was in this small town, but now they're bringing, let's say Pennsylvania, Michigan, whatever. We're in the small town and our factories had closed down, but they're going to be opening factories back up. So I'm putting in my application. I haven't got hired yet, so I am looking, but I'm still unemployed. We shall see how that goes, right? Q number says the numbers are skewed. It says some people took the early bailout when return to work happened and when they knew they might get cut due to restructuring, they took the 8th month payout. A few channels. Interesting. See, I was not aware of that. On the okay, yes, that I know of because somebody that I'm working with, they were telling me that they were trying to take the payout, but things didn't work out that way. But yeah, I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see. And S&P 500 seems steady and a go-to for me. Makes sense. And it says, yes, I am doing well. I'm focused on doing the Red Hat certs. It is fully online. I was able to get into a program. I am a software engineer who recently got some. Shout out to you. That is awesome. I love that. I also completed some ServiceNow. It says looking at automation, DevOps to DevSecOps. You are doing the thing. That's absolutely phenomenal. Integrate my coding with cloud. That is. I don't know if you caught this the other day, but I was sharing how some automation work that I was doing for QA, how I had to use Terraform to give some permissions to a user. I had to update the bucket permissions in S3 to allow certain actions to happen on that bucket. I had to write some code in Python using the Boto 3 to be able to upload a file and tag the file in S3, and then pull in that file, so connect to that S3 repo from another repository and pull in the file that was uploaded from the other repo in order to use that for some testing stuff. So it's everything, like all this, and that's why when people say, "Oh, I just do this," or "I just do," I'm like, no, you can't. Like, you might specialize in something, but you still need to have some knowledge and be able to maneuver to all those things. So shout out you. That is absolutely amazing.
We the best.
All right. Since I also saw Terraform and ServiceNow seminar. That is so cool. Very, very cool. Kuya Nimbus. So happy to have you here. Really, really appreciate you. All right. So let's do Doge Watch real quick before we wrap up the show. How much time we have left? We have probably just a few minutes to go. Let's see. We have time is up. But
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
But let's do Doge Watch before we get up out of here, right? So Doge Watch. Let's see what's going on. The Department of Government Efficiency. So this says contract updates. Today, agencies terminated 63 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $124 million and savings of $39 million, including $1.25 million HHS government or HHS at HHS Gov marketing consultant contract for Google AdWords management. God damn it, son of a. Okay. And $1.9 million State Department consulting contract for global advisory and something. I swear to God. It says the USGA IT team just saved $1 million per year by converting 14,000 magnetic tapes, 70-year-old technology for information storage to permanent modern digital records. Oh my God. Oh, it's so frustrating. I swear it's so. All right, let's continue. Good work by USMLS or what? I'm not sure what this handle is. And this canceling $25 million in wasteful DEI grants for $15 million in savings, including $265 to Queens College Research Why Biop. I don't even know what that is. Teens read Japanese comic books. 252 historical markers across Ohio. 140 for some, I don't even know. Contract update. Agencies canceled 47 wasteful contracts today with 87.5 million ceiling value and 30.2 million in savings, including 3.4 State Department management consulting contracts for aviation advisors in Kenya. Aviation advisors in Kenya.
Bruh.
Department of Veteran Affairs, VA was previously paying $380,000 per month for minor website modifications. That contract has not been renewed, and the same work is now being executed by one internal VA software engineer, spending 10 hours per. Oh my God! Are you kidding me here? Are you kidding me here? All right, this. All right, I think we're gonna stop with this one because this cannot be real. This cannot, like, are you telling me, son of a, this really upsets me. So me being a web developer, like I have a web development background, right? You're telling me this one, son of a, this. Oh my God. So the VA was paying $380,000 per month for minor website modifications. The same work is now being executed by one internal Veterans Affairs software engineer, spending about 10 hours per week, 40 hours in a month. When we were paying $380,000 a month. You know what? Where's my calculator? Where's my calculator? Hold on. Oh my God. 380 times 12 equals. We were paying, and I say we because this is our tax dollars. We were paying $4,560,000 a year for minor website modifications, and they were spending, let's say 40 hours in a month times 12 we're spending $4.5 million for 480 hours of work in a year. Anyway, you know what? That's it for today. That is it for Doge Watch. I might have to stop doing Doge Watch because this is going to stress me out. Seeing how much waste, at least now we're saving it, but how long? I want to know how long was this contract going on for? How long did this contract last? That's a lot of money. This is why they hate Doge. This is why they hate Elon, because exposing us paying for stuff that we are not getting equal service in return. If I was that contracting company, I would hate him too, because guess what? That's the only contract that I need. That is the only contract that I need to do $480 of work in a year. Anyways, that's it. Let me read the chat and we're gonna get the hell up out of here because that almost ruined my day. All right, so let's see. Clear Number says, I was busy looking at Cube and Jenkins. I love how different things tie into each other. Facts. One of my QA coworkers, they were actually looking at trying to deploy Report Portal, which is a QA reporting software using EKS, Elastic Kubernetes service. I think the case stands for Kubernetes on AWS. So there's so much different stuff that we can do if we unlock our minds, if we open our minds to doing more stuff. Let's see. And like on Sundays tomorrow, I'm going to be using Kubernetes. I'm going to be working on the secrets and stuff like that. I knew absolutely nothing. For my software explorations, concept and overviews this coming week, I am going to re-go through the presentation that I did on Kubernetes so that we can see the difference between when I knew nothing about Kubernetes before I ever worked on it, and now that I've been working on Kubernetes for a good 6 months, the big difference that it makes in when you are exploring what it means and actually knowing what it is. All right. All right, let's see the next one. Let's see. Exactly. Burning money. And so I hope you got a raise. I hope we got a raise too, but not for $4.5 million. Tell you that. And so it sounds like someone was on friends and family contract program. Who are you telling, Kuyanimbus? So true. So true. Well,
Congratulations, you played yourself.
that's what happened to that contract company. Now they have to go and find real work. They actually have to put in some real effort. Anyways, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Truly appreciate every last one of you guys. Shout out to Kuyanimbus. Shout out to Wave Nerd. Shout out to Yakar for popping in. Happy birthday to Yakar as well. Shout out to my guy Rod Brown running it up. And shout out to Rock the Scrubs Roxy. Shout out to all of you guys for being amazing people. We are done for today. I will be back live tomorrow midday for Kubernetes work for DevOps, and then tomorrow night on the Half Guard Halfy channel. Let me drop the link in the chat one more time for that channel. We will be talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We'll be reviewing Henry's matches. Half Guard. Where's that link? There we go. Let me drop that link one more time in the chat. Go subscribe to that channel if you are interested in learning about Jiu-Jitsu, reviewing our competitions, and seeing, we're just going to hang out. We're going to have a lot of fun on that channel, all right? So check it out. Jiu-Jitsu Ka. Yep, I do Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a purple belt. Been doing it for 5 years now. So come check us out over there. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking, hanging out with my training partners and all that good stuff, all right? But with that being said, we are out of here. You guys have an amazing... Oh, you do judo? That is awesome. Come check us out because... We tried some judo moves. We're terrible at it, but there are some people who do judo. Come check us out. Come hang out with us tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time, and we will talk about it there. But that is it for today. You guys have an amazing day. Tech Coach Ralph, we are out.
Where is my money? Tell me where. You wanna chit chat, but I don't care. Can't be playing with my cash, no way. This disrespect can't be the play. Why you playing games with my cash? Owe me big, but you're acting rash. Said you pay me back today. Hey, now you're silent like it's all okay. Cash rules everything around me. Everything. Pay me what you owe, don't flee. Pay me. Dusty promises don't sue. No dusty promises. Gotta get straight to the loot. See you styling in your new threads. Spending freely while my wallet's dead. You think I won't come for my green, but I'm not backing down from this scene. Where's my money? You promised me. Where's my money? Quit the chatter and just agree. Where's my money? Your lies ain't funny, it's getting old. Pay me now before I get bold. Where's my money? Dusty excuses won't get you far. Up in the club, buying out the bar. Time to face up, you owe a debt. Avoiding me won't let you forget. Ducking calls like a ghost in the night. Running scared, but I'm ready to fight. No more stalling, it's time to pay. Running out on me is not okay. Where's my money? You promised me. Where's my money? Quit the chatter and just agree. Where's my money? Your lies ain't funny, it's getting old. Pay me now before I get bold. Where's my money? Cash rules everything around me. Everything. Pay me what you owe, don't flee. Pay me. Dusty promises don't sue. No dusty promises. Gotta get straight to the loot. don't sue.